What is going on, everyone? Welcome to the live coverage of the HKB State Championship 2024. Soremouth tackle helping us out with this one in a big way, and Dakota Lithium as well. We're going to get into all that here in just a minute. We're going to knock the dust off this computer, see if this thing still works. I can't remember the last time I did a live, but you guys know what to do. Let me know in the comments where you're watching from, if you can see me, if you can hear me. I'm in Peru, Indiana, just south of Rochester a little ways. The guys are out on Lake Manitou right now, and they are putting up some fish. And we're going to talk about all that and more on the live coverage here today. So if you're watching, if you're tuning in live, we appreciate you. If you're watching this afterwards, thanks for checking in with us. But yeah, let me know in the comments where you're watching from, who you're rooting for, and we're going to go over all the things HKB State Championship. We're going to talk about last night's Night of Champions dinner. We're going to talk about how these guys got here. We're going to talk about the lake, the results so far. It's going to be a good time. Like I said, I'm in Peru, Indiana, about 30 minutes south of the lake, hanging out here. Might try and get out on the water with the guys this afternoon, but I decided to stay warm and judge fish from the hotel room. So, these guys are dealing with some pretty cold temps this morning, but not too terrible. Wind chill is probably a factor for them today, tomorrow, even more so. We'll get into the weather a little bit here in a minute, but there's been a lot of fish caught already, even with the colder temps and the colder water temps. There's been quite a few fish caught. So that's exciting to see. Lake Manitou is an awesome lake. It's largely unknown to most kayakers, but it is a fun lake, and I hope you guys enjoy watching the leaderboard and the coverage this week. And later on this year, you'll have an opportunity to go out there and fish yourself as Grubby, Grassroots Bass Yakin, takes one of their northern trails. I can't remember which one it is off the top of my head, if it's the western or the eastern trail that's new for this year, to Lake Manitou. So it'll be the first open tournament we've had in the kayak space on those waters. So that's gonna be fun. We got Justin Staley in the comments. Speaking of Manitou, this place was kind of brought to the public eye in the kayak space with the Indy Knights and the former KFL League. Justin Staley, one of those original Indy Knights. Good to see you in the comments, bud. I'm glad you're watching. I saw you make a post the other day about old Wyatt Guard getting first place out on Patoka Lake. Me and Adam were just talking about you last night, man, and would love to see you back in the kayak game soon. Hopefully we will. But we were reminiscing about all the good times on Lake Manitou, and these guys are going to have some good memories after this weekend. Hopefully, mostly good memories, not too many bad ones. Well, you guys are here to see what's going on, so I'm going to jump right into what's happening on the leaderboard at the moment. I'm going to share my screen with you. We're going to get into that day one leaderboard presented by Soremouth Tackle, powered by Dakota Lithium. Let's bring it up here and let's get into it. Get me real small down the corner. Nobody wants to see this face. All right. With a quick limit, first thing this morning, he had a limit before 8:30. Tweezy, Mr. Hayes, getting it done. He's got 65.25 inches, and he's called. I just judged the fish not too long ago before we got on live. And Hayes is off to a great start. Putting up a quick limit is key in these tournaments. 2-day tournament, he's got all day now to search for those bigger bites. First time on the water, guys. He did not put any practice in yesterday. He has never been here. Like many of our anglers, this is his first time on the water. So that's really cool to see him out there finding success. Let's talk about how Tweezy got into this event. Mike Elsey, two-time champion Mike Elsey, qualified through the KBF Challenge Series as the top-performing Indiana angler in the KBF Challenge Series Championship last year. Mike was unable to attend this event due to some scheduling conflicts. He was obligated to be at the Native Watercraft Power Hour event on St. Clair this weekend. Unfortunately, that event was canceled due to high winds. So he was not able to compete in this one, which means his spot rolls down. We offer one roll down per qualification. So that spot rolled down to Tweezy, who is the second highest placing Indiana angler in the KBF Challenge Series Championship last fall. That said, he was your leader, but as you can now see, we have a new leader. Just that quick. At 9:32, Merlin Hammer, the third, MH3, puts in a giant kicker for his call. He had 5, but now he's got 5 with a kicker. A big one, a 1950. That is going to be your Killian Tile big bass of the day. We go to the lunker board real quick. We'll take a look at what else we've seen come across here. But that's a big move by your 2-time SIAC champion, back-to-back 2022-23 SIAC champion. That's how Merlin got in. This is his second state championship. And you see that fish right there, guys. That's a big fish on Manitow. I said last night in our Night of Champions that a 20.5 would be our big bass for the event. But right now, Merlin's got it with a 1950. Not officially judged yet, but I'm looking at it, and I'm going to tell you, I see a 1950 there. That one's going to be official. That one's going to be approved, and that's a good fish for Merlin. That's going to be tough to beat, guys. There's definitely some 20s in the water, and with the conditions we have this weekend, I think some of these big fish are going to move up and eat, but he just made a big move. Now, Eric Tracy, overlapping him. Eric had an 1850 he caught a little before 9 a.m. this morning. Adam Murray, or Samuel Murray, as you see on the leaderboard there. Adam, he got off to a quick jump with a 15 3/4. Set the stage pretty quick for the leaderboard, and then we haven't seen much from him since. Couple other fish in there on the big fish leaderboard, but Merlin Hammer, the third, crushing it. That Killian Tile lunker board leader so far for day one. Big bass of this event does get $100 cash prize thanks to Killian Tile. If you guys don't know who that is, Austin Killian, fellow kayak angler, fishes a lot of events here in the state. He started up his own tile business I think it was last fall, maybe this spring, and he is doing some amazing tile work. Check him out, Killian Tile on social media, and KillianTile.com. You can see his work there and everything that he offers. So thank you to Austin Killian for giving back to this community and providing a nice little cash bonus for our big fish. Let's get back to day one leaderboard and let's see what we got going on. Internet's a little slow here. I hope everything's working, guys. I'm trying to knock the rust off. It's been a while since I've done this, so bear with me. We'll try and get through this without too many technical difficulties or blunders on my part. It's kind of like my fishing right now too, trying to knock the rust off, get back at it. But let's get back into it here. Day one leaderboard, Merlin Hammer the third, MH3 with 75 inches. That's a solid limit here, guys. Very solid limit. This lake is full of 13 to 15 inch fish. A lot in that range. I expect multiple limits filled with 13 to 15s. There are several big fish in this lake. They get caught, a lot in the KFL events that we had. There was always a couple good ones over 18. We had some 20s pop up. Guys practicing and fun fishing out here. We've seen some big fish. 75 inches is a really solid day. I don't know if 75 both days would be enough to cut it, but he's definitely on the right track. It's only a little after 9:30 this morning. These guys got till 2:30 to make some upgrades. Tweezy now in the second place spot with 65 and a quarter. His big bass right now is 13.75. So he's got a lot of room to grow there. Ryan Reedy in third with 50 and 3/4 inches. His big right now at 13. So he'll be right in the mix once he gets that limit fish. Wyatt Guard moving up into the fourth place spot. Got off to a pretty quick start, really, and has kind of struggled to find his fourth and fifth keepers. His last fish was submitted around 8 o'clock. And again, he's sitting there with 37.5 inches. His big bass right now, 13 and a quarter. We'll have to see if he can figure out how to get him to bite again. Now that the morning bite is kind of probably tailing off. We'll see if we get another wave as the day goes on. Eric Tracy, as I mentioned before, he got off to a really good start. Had a 1850 right off the bat this morning, followed that up with a almost 13-incher, and then haven't seen much from him yet. Had a little bit of technical difficulties this morning with submitting fish, so I know that kind of got in the way a little bit, but seems to be good now, so hopefully he can get back on track and start catching them. Ryan Platt, another guy who caught him early, couple quick keepers right after 7 o'clock, a 1550 and a 1475. Now, he's only got 2 fish, but he's got the right size. If he can continue that up, he will definitely be competitive. We'll see if he gets any more throughout the day. I'm sure he will. Ryan is a stick. He's done really well. Obviously, all these guys are sticks. You don't get in this tournament without being the best of the best. These are all AOYs and champions from the 2023 season. We'll talk a little bit more about that here in a minute. But rounding out the leaderboard, we've got Adam with 1 fish, that 1575 we talked about a few moments ago. Fish being caught all over the place right now, guys. The entire lake has been lit up. There's not a particular hot section, which is cool to see. Going into this event, there was a lot of chatter about, everyone was going to be piled up in one area. It hasn't been that way at all. We've got a couple anglers fishing in the canals. We got a couple anglers fishing Main Lake. We've got some guys in the south and in the north, in the east and in the west. 9 anglers fishing in this field, and they're catching them all over. Right now, the conditions aren't too terrible. We're going to get into some tough conditions later on, maybe today. Definitely tomorrow is something that's something that we're concerned about, and we're going to be watching the forecast today to see how it updates. But in Rochester right now, we'll pull up the weather here and take a look and see what we got. This morning at launch, it was a little chilly, a little breezy, not too bad. Currently, though, it is about 52 degrees. They have a little bit of wind, I would say, coming out of the east, around 13 miles per hour, gust up to 22 at the moment. So, wind is your friend if you can use it to your advantage and you know how to use it to your advantage. It can get these fish fired up and can get them biting. Luckily, and we did just have a pretty good sized cold front, but luckily we're on the upside. We're coming into those warmer temps. They're going to be pushing up with that southerly flow as this next front comes through. We are expecting some rain, maybe a few rumbles of thunder tonight, and then high winds forecasted for this afternoon and tomorrow. In fact, last checked, we were looking at wind gusts as possibly into the low 40s. Definitely going to see some gusts in the 30s with sustained winds anywhere from the teens to the 20s. So it's going to be a little bit hairy and tricky tomorrow. We're going to have to make a call first thing in the morning. We'll make a safety call if it looks good. we'll fish on. If not, we may be looking at a one-day shootout, because Sunday, our backup day, doesn't look much better. In fact, the wind forecast last checked was the same, if not worse, on Sunday. So hopefully we can get these guys out on the water. The one thing that's in our advantage is it is coming out of the south. There are several things breaking that up, and a lot of water to fish potentially that wouldn't be too impacted. Now, the northern part of the lake, yeah, it's probably going to be a little dicey up there. This is a smaller body of water, only 800 acres, Lake Manitou. So, we're not talking about 3 and 4 foot rollers like we would be on, a Monroe or a Patoka. But definitely going to be something that's going to play a role in how these guys attack this 2-day event. I told them all last night and this morning, fish your hardest today. Don't leave anything out there. Don't try and save too many fish for tomorrow. Make it count today, because there's always the possibility that we do have to cancel day 2 for safety reasons. Of course, we're going to try not to do that. We want a 2-day event, and we're gonna hope that the forecast kind of lessens as that front moves in, and we get a better look, or the weathermen get a better look at what go down. If it goes up much, then probably won't be able to have day event. Tomorrow, though, we back at Soremouth Tackle, where we had our 9 games last night, for our award ceremony. Whether that be in the morning because we didn't have a day 2, or after our event. Events was all on HKB. We'll go over that tomorrow. That is that's open to the public. So if you're in the Kokomo area or you want to make a trip and watch a round champion, you can do that. Come hang out with us at Soremouth Tackle. They were awesome last night. The guys were able to get in and get a few last things that they needed for today's event. Make sure they had everything they needed, to get out on the water today and be successful. We had pizza. The guys got to take home some awesome prizes from all of our sponsors, including some baits and tackle from Soremouth. Can't thank them enough for their support. Our title sponsor for this event. And, of course, Dakota Lithium. Dakota Lithium has been with us from the beginning, supporting this event, giving out batteries for these guys, chargers, and everything they need to stay powered on the water. So a huge shout out to them as well. Soremouth Tackle, I think, is actually running a pretty good deal on rods and reels right now. So, again, if you're in the area, go check them out. They do have a website coming soon. I know the guy that's working on it, and he's trying to get it up as quick as possible. So, be ready for that, soremouthtackle.com. You can actually go there now and subscribe to their email list to be notified when that site goes live. If you guys haven't been to Soremouth Tackle, it has probably the best selection of baits I have seen anywhere in the region. They've got everything from Shad swim baits, the newest Rapala Crush City baits. They've got everything. Strike King, Yamamoto. They got all your favorite crankbaits, Shimano and Daiwa reels, a huge selection of rods. I mean, they got it all. They got the new Spro rods. They got Falcon. They got those Temple fork rods. I mean, they got it all, Of course, G Loomis is there. In fact, they're doing a G Loomis giveaway. You can enter to win that at the shop. I think it's $10, if I'm not mistaken. $10. You get a ticket. They're going to draw that, I believe, on May 31st. So, again, thank you to Soremouth Tackle. Go check them out. Make sure to subscribe on their website so you can get notified when they launch that website. And if you're in the area, stop by the shop. They've got everything. They got it all, seriously. All right, guys, let's talk about Lake Manitou a little bit here. Give me just a second, and I'm going to pull up a map of the lake for you guys. Should have had that already, but I didn't get there yet. So time got away from me judging these fish. Rochester, Indiana, if you're not aware, it's about 45 minutes north of Kokomo. Um, you know, most of our kayak anglers in the central and southern part of the state. So again, it's pretty unknown. In fact, all of our anglers, for the most part, we're seeing it for the first time. Adam, of course, probably the angler who has the most experience on this lake because of fishing with the Indy Knights. Brian Sparks and Mike Elsey both qualified for this event but couldn't make it. So Adam is kind of really the only one left that had any experience here. A couple anglers, I believe I think it was James Miller and Ryan Platt came out last fall, checked it out a little bit. But for most of our anglers, they were seeing it for the first time on Thursday during our official practice. And, that was kind of one of the goals of this event, was to try and put anglers on a smaller body of water that had a great opportunity to catch fish, both quality and numbers, but also give them a new challenge, something that they're not, super familiar with, and make it a little bit more competitive. Of course, any lake you go to in the state, there's going to most likely be a couple of the anglers who qualify who are familiar with it. Our first state championship was back in 2021 on Summit Lake. At that time, not a whole lot of guys had fished it. That was prior to, all the grubby stuff that goes on out there now. Now, of course, it's a staple. Everyone loves that lake. People travel from all over the state to go to it. Everyone knows it's got the giants, and it's got a lot of fish in it. Then the next year, we actually paired up with IK, went to Wawasee for day one. Day two was canceled for IK. They didn't have a day two, but day two was canceled for Wawasee due to high winds. But instead of just not fishing, we actually just moved locations. We took it down to the Barbie chain, a little bit more protected, smaller waters, and the guys got to fish out there. And then last year we were down on bluegrass. So this year wanted to get back to a lake that was a little bit maybe unknown. And, with the experience that we had with the Indy Knights out here, I thought it was going to be a great lake to put these guys on. This small lake, only 800 acres, has a ton of features jam-packed into this little area. I've never really seen anything quite like it. This lake has deep holes and ledges and break lines. It's got, offshore fishing from wood and humps and saddles to big islands. It's got grass in it, pads in it. They have been treating the grass, so that's played a bit of a role, but there's still plenty in it. There's canal systems. Its entire thing pretty much is lined with docks. There's so many different things to fish, which gives these anglers an opportunity to fish their strengths. We'll take a quick, deeper look at this guy here. Let me see if I can get rid of that. So starting from the north end up here, you've got Coney Island. This island here is surrounded by laydowns and grass patches. I'm not really sure how the grass is currently right now on this, but I do know some fish have been caught up around this area. You got a little lily pad field right here. This right here, you can't really tell too well, but that's a grass line. This is a shallow area that comes out, and there's a grass line right here, right next to some deeper water. Again, you've got canal systems everywhere that come through here, little ones, medium-sized ones, some bigger ones. This one wraps around all the way over here. Lily pads and grass grow up on this flat. And then we travel a little bit further south, and you'll see the big island system here, as well as what they call Treasure Island. This is a really cool area. It's got some big chutes or points that come out off of it, some deep water access around here. There's some offshore structure as well, both natural and man-made structure. Come down a little bit further on this east side, we've got this canal here. This is actually where we launched from for the tournament, but it does have a little inlet right here. Get some grass and pads. It doesn't have that right now, but that's a pretty cool little area as well. And then this canal system and island over here always is a key player in the bass boat tournaments that come here and the KFL events we've had in the past. And we definitely have some anglers in this area right now fishing and doing well. Really large. It doesn't look like too much on the maps, but there's quite a bit of water back here, both shallow and deep. There's some backwater area right here where you get grass and pads, as you can see on the map there. Definitely a popular area. And then you get down here into the southernmost part of the lake, and there is actually some pretty good deep water out here, and then a beautiful shallow grassy flat area that kind of comes all the way up to this island here. This area is another area that's played big in bass boat tournaments and kayak tournaments alike. And of course, it is fed by another creek that runs down here on the south end, and you go a pretty good ways up into this. So yeah, it's a beautiful little lake, got shallow docks, deep docks. You know, this whole line of docks on this east side here has got some pretty deep water access to it. And it's just a really great lake for a small tournament like this, or like the grubby events where you've got guys spread over a 5-day stretch, 14 anglers max per day. So that's one of the reasons we chose this. We announced last night at the Night of Champions for 2025, we are going back to Summit Lake. We're going back to Summit Lake for 2025. Goal is to kind of have one in the north, one central, one south, and just kind of rotate through that. So as I said before, we filmed it in our first year. Then we went north to Wawasee. Then we went south to Bluegrass last year. We're back north to Manitoba, and then we're going to central Indiana next year and fishing Summit Lake. Already have an idea where we're going the next 2 years as well, but we'll announce that later on. We always announce that at the Night of Champions the year before. So let's go back now that we've kind of broke down this lake, talked about it a little bit. We'll do some more of that over the next day or so as we cover this event. But let's go back to our leaderboard and see if we've got any updates there. We'll refresh this. You guys can follow along on Fishing Chaos. UseYourKayakBassin.com. You can go to the state championship page and see the leaderboard there, or link to the leaderboards. We've also got them posted on our socials, and you can watch these leaderboards all day, regardless of if I'm live or not. All right, doesn't look like we have any updates at the moment. The last fish being submitted was that kicker fish from Merlin. Still sitting on top with 75 inches even. Let's talk about how these guys got here. All right, let's go through those qualifiers, and then we'll talk about some other things going on here in the state. So our first qualifier was Glenn Landstrom, qualifying with his state championship title last year. HKB state championship, gets an automatic bid into the 2024 or the following year championship. Glenn was unable to make it. Glenn is currently doing training to be a member of the sheriff's department in his area. So he was unable to attend. We have implemented, I guess, what we're calling a championship exemption, or a champion's exemption for him. The guys down there going to, be serving his community. He's not able to fish much this year. So we're going to go ahead and give him the opportunity to defend his title in 2025. So Glenn will be fishing the 2025 championship. Hopefully there's no schedule conflicts there, and he'll have an opportunity to get back on top on this one. There is roll downs for all of the positions, there isn't with the state championship. That's the one exception. So no one filled his slot. Our next qualifier was a double qualifier, qualifying both through IK and Grubby. He was the IK champion last year, as well as the Grubby Lake Series overall AOI. Ryan Platt getting in for his first time. Ryan, actually, go back to him for a second. He's a 3-time qualifier. Our only three-time qualifier in this event. But Ryan Platt, he was the other IKA qualifier for this season. Each club gets 2, with the exception of Grubby. There's some additional entries there, and we'll go over that in a minute. Ryan took over the IKA season last year. I mean, he absolutely dominated. Had a couple wins, I believe. I know he won out on Bass Lake and did a great job and smoked them there. But had a tremendous season, and he really did well in other series as well through Grubby, a couple of AOIs over there as well. Really coming on strong, and I expect him to do well in this tournament. You know, he, like I said, he's got some quality fish at the moment. He's just got to find that limit. MH3 Merlin Hammer the third. He's one of our 2-time qualifiers in this event. He qualified this year the same way he qualified last year, and that was at the SIAC. As the SIAC champion 2 years back to back. So it's good to see him in his second one. This next one, rumor has this is his last time event ever. He's retiring and going to be a big bass boater, live boat side. Adam Murray was your 2023 SIAC AOI. Him and Merlin were fighting back and forth for that one for a little while, but towards the end there, he really took off with it and was going to be pretty much impossible to catch. So he's back for his second championship. He was at the first one on Summit Lake, missed the last couple, and he's here now for 2024. Again, Ryan Reedy, our only double qualifier and 3-time qualifier overall. He was your Grubby Lake overall AOI. Tremendous season. I mean, him and James Miller were battling it out to the end. I mean, you either I think they had first or second places for all of their qualifying events, and absolutely incredible, you know, to see what he's done the last 2 seasons. This guy is on fire, really making a name for himself. The consistency is incredible. He's putting in the time on the water. And it's a true difference maker for a lot of these guys at the top, is just how much time they put on the water. When you're out there that much, you're collecting so much data that these guys are able to make quicker decisions, and you know, and they're more confident, and they just fit effortlessly. And when that's going on, you're really hard to beat. So Ryan Reedy, off to another great season this year, already getting multiple podiums. I believe he's got at least 1 win, if I'm not mistaken, cashing some checks in Grubby and doing well. And he had great practice. From what I hear, he had a really solid practice, so I expect to see him doing well in this one. Eric Tracy is our first ever river qualifier. Grubby running both a lake series and a river series now. So that's why I said, you know, Grubby gets some extra entries. Not only do they get their champion, but they get 2 Lake Series AOI and a River Series AOI. Eric Tracy taking that River Series overall AOI last year, getting in on this one. And then we had Brian Sparks, who was our 2023 Grubby champion. I think he's won that thing 3 times now, if I'm not mistaken. I know at least twice. Just absolute hammer. He catch him anywhere he goes, anywhere in the country. Was sad to see him not in this one. Definitely thought he would be a favorite to win it with his experience here fishing with the Indy Knights and just his ability to catch them year round. But he actually was going up to St. Clair, not only for the Power Hour, but also for the Grubby event up there. And if you guys don't know, Brian Sparks is the Grubby chaplain. And he's done some baptismals up on St. Clair the last couple of years, and he's got a guy going up there this year, and he's going to be doing that as well. So that's really awesome. And of course, that's more important than any tournament that could take place. And so he opted to go to that, and I can't blame him for that. That said, we did have some roll downs with Ryan Reedy being a double qualifier. James Miller took the roll down spot for him in the IKA championship. He gets in. As we mentioned before, Mike Elsey was unable to make it this time because of the Power Hour. He needed to be there, obligated to be there through his native sponsorship. So that spot rolled down to Tweezy, as we discussed earlier. And then the other one we had was Brian Sparks not coming. So his spot rolled down to Wyatt Guard. So that's why you see those names on the leaderboard, not on this list here. We do have, a breakdown of the roster on HKB, on our HoosierKayakBassin.com, on our website there. You can check that out. It's posted to our socials as well. And it talks a little bit more about how each of these guys got here in their seasons last year. Last one we need to talk about is Brant Sharp. Brant Sharp coming up. He's been traveling a little bit, been out of the state, hasn't done much fishing lately, but he came back to Indiana to fish this event. He qualified last year as the KBF Indiana Challenge Series champion, or commonly referred to as Angler of the Year. And this is his first championship as well, state championship. So he came up yesterday, made the trip, did a little practice, out there fishing with the guys now. Looking forward to see. We haven't seen him on the leaderboard yet, but hopefully we will soon. Speaking of that leaderboard, let's get back to it. Let's see if we've got any updates. Thank you guys for tuning in. I know it's a work day for most, Friday. Appreciate you tuning in or watching this after the fact. Share it with your friends and family. Let's get some exposure for these guys and what we're doing out here. These tournaments, these organizations. Let's get some new people involved. All right, let's take a look. Let's see if we got any updates. I'll refresh this one more time just in case. Oh, it flashed there for a second. And we do have a little bit of a change. Nope, we're still the same. 75 for Merlin leading the way. Last fish submitted. Hayes in there still with 65 and a quarter. Ryan Reedy looking for his fourth bite. He's got 50 and 3/4 inches. He's going to need a fifth and an upgrade in order to take the lead because Merlin's got that kicker right now, 19.5-inch fish. Let's take a look at that here in a second again. But Ryan Platt in fourth place right now. That is a change. That is an update to the leaderboard. He submitted a 12-inch fish, his third fish not too long ago, bumping Wyatt Guard down into the fifth place spot with 37.5. Eric Tracy still sitting at 31 inches in sixth, and Adam in seventh with 15 and 3/4. We don't have any fish on the board from Brant Sharp or James Miller. I'm sure we will see something from them soon. Let's go to the lunker board, Killian Tile lunker board, and let's take a look again at that big fish from Merlin, who about an inch ahead of Eric Tracy's big catch from earlier this morning. There it is. Chunky, 19.5-inch pre-spawn female there. Looks like she's got that little divot there, crease in the belly. She's got the eggs on each side there. So she'll be probably moving up and spawning soon. The water on this lake, guys, was 10 degrees warmer about a week ago. Big drop with those 3 cold fronts that we've had come through, but it should be warming back up. Supposed to get up into the 80s tomorrow with those southern winds as that front heads this way. Good stuff. Great start to the morning so far. A little after 10 o'clock, these guys got till 2:30 to get them caught, 3:30 to get them submitted, and then we'll have results at the ramp. If we can go live, we'll try. If not, we'll try and record it and post it for you guys after the fact. But your day one leader currently 75 inches, Merlin Hammer the third. Got some other events coming up, guys, and some events going on right now in the state. We'll talk about that real quick. Grubby, in conjunction with that Native Power Hour, having their first event on St. Clair with their Northeast Trail yesterday. John Gittner got out there and busted 87 1/4 inches, 19.5 for his big. Awesome catch there. He posted some photos of it. Man, these smallmouth are so deceiving in these pictures, these submission pictures. They always look a lot smaller than they actually are. Great fish from from John Gittner there. Let's take a look at how things are going so far this morning. Quite a few anglers fishing, only 2 yesterday. Got 7 fishing today. Cole Garland, as you would expect, taking the lead, 92 3/4 inches already this morning. Big Bass taking the lead on that as well with a 21-inch tank. Cole Garland, both a boater and kayaker, St. Clair extraordinaire. This guy has always got them dialed in up there. So no surprise to see him on top. Former Grubby Talk host Brian there with 80 1/4 inches. Matt Robinson, 64 1/4, looking for his 5th fish. If he is able to get a good kicker, he'll be starting to challenge Cole, but Cole does have 3 really solid fish already with a 21, a 19, and an 18. Brian Moore, the coach, 51 1/4 inches. He's got a good one, an 18 there. He's also got a 17 and a 16. He's going to need to find himself a couple of them big 20s to take the lead. And nothing yet from Brian Sparks. So it'll be interesting to see if he can figure it out and get on him. Brian Hensley up there as well. Shout out to him. He's got Redbeard Baits. Baits made here in Indiana. He was a big-time help at the HKB Turkey Bowl last fall, giving out a ton of baits to anglers competing in our charity team event. Tomorrow, we only got one, Edie Wilkinson, going out. That's going to be tough, probably almost impossible, unless she's going to stay in the canals or something. I hope she doesn't try and brave those winds on St. Clair tomorrow. That's going to be gnarly. Another angler, Billy Craig, on Sunday. I'm not sure what the winds look like for Monday, but hopefully they're much better. We've got a Michigan angler in this one. So we'll see what happens there. We'll get back to some of the other events happening in Indiana. Eagle Creek Reservoir. This lake, not one many talked about until last year. Grubby visited there. Yesterday, Mark Howe put up 71 1/2 inches. Michael Kulik put up 70 3/4. Really solid limits. I mean, yesterday's conditions weren't great. It was cold. It was windy. I think it got down into like the low 30s in Indianapolis, if I'm not mistaken, overnight. So those are solid limits. Today, we got 2 fish on the board, 8 anglers fishing. So fishing a little tougher today. We'll see if these guys can figure them out. We'll check back in on those probably later today or tomorrow. Nyona, just down the road from Rochester, Indiana, just north of Kokomo. And this lake series has been phenomenal over the last few years. I mean, you can't really peg a better kayak lake. They're small, but they are fun. There's tons of fish in them, and we see some pretty good limits out of them and great turnouts for this event. Yesterday, 9 anglers fished in it for the 8-hour stretch. It looks like we had Mike Matthews at 75 1/4 inches. Bob Goldsmith, he's been really good out there over the years, 74 inches. He had 9 calls. 9 calls. That's incredible. Must have been catching a lot of 12s and 13s early. Ron Irwin in 3rd place yesterday with 72 1/4. Let's see what's going on today, this morning. This is a great comparison because, again, you're less than an hour apart, these 2 lakes, both similar with grass, water clarity. So interesting to see what's going on there. We got 3 anglers. Both of these anglers, Bryce and Chad Howard, are sticks out there on Nyona. Know it well. I think they've both won a Nyona event, Chad and AOY, I believe, there. And we've got Bryce with a limit, 70 3/4 inches. Chad Howard behind him, 29 1/2. Needs to fill that limit out still. So interesting to see that in comparison to our event going on just up the road. Let's see. I think we have one more from Grubby this week that we can go over real quick. And that's Dogwood. Dogwood Lake. Yesterday, Paul Moore, 76 inches, solid limit for Indiana. Anytime you start getting close to 80, you're in contention usually to win. 74.50 from Chris Wargel. Jacob Singer making the trip up from the Evansville area, 68 inches. Solid limits there. Let's see what's going on today. 3 anglers competing, 0 fish submitted. This might be a signal-related issue. I'm not sure. I highly doubt these 3 anglers, both all-gray anglers, haven't caught any keepers. Well, actually, in grubby events, there is no size minimum. So I'd be definitely surprised to see, these guys zeroing at this point in the day. I'm assuming that's probably more of a signal-related issue. Again, grubby events, no size limit, 5 fish, pick your day, and go compete between Thursday and Monday. So good stuff there. Only other event we got going on in the state right now is the KBF Challenge Series for Indiana. Matt Kiefer on top of that one right now, 92.25 inches for the month. This one's winding down just a few more days. Troy Stinson with 84.75, definitely within striking distance, but he's going to need some quality upgrades. Going to have to get some 19s or at least fill out his limit with 18s. Brian Sparks, 84 inches. Daniel Pierce, I'm actually not familiar with that name. I don't believe. 75.25 inches. Shane Partlow, 61.25. And then I've submitted 1 whopping fish all month. Matt Kiefer, 92.25 inches. Could be the winning limit right there. But I would expect to see at least these 3 get some good upgrades between now and then. So we'll have to keep a watch on that, see what happens. But Matt Kiefer right now leading the way. IKA is on Raccoon Lake next weekend, May 4th, for their second event of the season. That's going to be a good one. Waters are about 2 foot high right now over normal pool, I believe it is, last I checked. And with this warming trend we've got, some rain, those fish should be moving up, and we should see some big limits caught in that one. Syak the following day. So if you're over at Raccoon, you can just hop over to Sugar Creek in Crawfordsville and fish with Syak for their annual moving water event. That's going to be a good one. They just finished up at Bischoff last week, so quick turnaround for them. Grubby, as we mentioned this week, they're on St. Clair, Eagle Creek, Dogwood, and Nyona. Go back over here real quick, and I can tell you where they're at next. Looks like you've got May 2nd through the 6th, Northwest Trail. I'm not sure which lake this is. Monticello, Indiana. I'm not sure where that's at. Then you got the Southwest Trail. That one is going to be on Waveland, Lake Waveland, another lake we haven't seen a lot of events from in the past. The Southeast Trail is heading to Lake Monroe, which is fishing really well right now. Again, I think with the warming trend that is coming and the conditions, we should see some pretty good bite. There's quite a bit of grass back on that lake now. Some big fish being caught, rumors of some 8-pounders, some bags well over 20. So I expect to see that one be surprising to people. I know a lot of kayak anglers have struggled out there in the past. We've seen some pretty low results in the past, but we've also seen some really big bags in the 90s, even close to 100 a couple times. So there's a big swing there usually in the results, but May and June are when we can typically see a little bit more consistency in some of the best events. So if the weather holds out for this one, I haven't looked at the long range forecast too much for that, but if it holds out, it'll be a good event. And then you got a 4th event up on Blue Lake for the Northeast Trail. That was a good event last year. Some quality limits caught. We'll go back here. USA Bassin finished up their first event on Patoka Lake. I don't have it updated here on the website. I need to do that. But they're May 18th. They're going to Monroe Lake. That should be just before the full moon. So we should be looking at, again, that pre-spawn time frame, really seeing some fish moving up and eating with the numerous cold fronts and warm fronts that we've had, the big swings in temperature that we have, I think we're going to see quite a bit of a trickle spawn this year, as they call it. Not real big waves happening, more just smaller waves coming in, a few fish spawning here and there. But if it does warm up quick over the next couple of weeks and stays warm, that May full moon could be the deal. That could be some of the best fishing of the year right there for those of you that like to fish around the spawn. KBF Challenge Series going on all month long, all next month long, and get signed up for that. And of course, we got the state championship going on right now. Let's go back to our leaderboard and see if we got any updates, guys. All right. And it looks like we do have a little bit of a change here. Ryan Platt now in third spot. He's got 4 fish now. Looks like he put up, while we were talking about the other events going on in the state, a 15.5 incher for his 4th. He's 1 away from a limit. Merlin's still on top. Tweezy right behind him. Reedy still at 50.25, and no changes at the bottom half of the leaderboard. Plenty of time left to fish for these guys. Big bass still 19.5 incher from Merlin. No surprise to see Merlin doing well. He knows how to get a limit usually, and to find a kicker like that is a big deal for him. He's going to be a contender for sure. That wind's probably starting to pick up a little bit now out there. So we'll see how that plays for these anglers, especially the ones fishing main lake areas. All right, guys. Well, that is it for this morning's recap. We're going to wrap it up. We're coming up on the hour mark. Stay tuned to the leaderboards. Stay tuned to the socials. We'll probably drop back in for a quick update just before the leaderboard goes down at noon. So we will be taking the leaderboards down at noon. You'll have to wait around for the results ceremony this afternoon to see how day 1 results went. I may sneak in sometime early this afternoon, either here from the hotel or on the water, and give you guys some, sneak peeks as to what could be happening on the water with the leaderboard. So stay tuned for that. But thanks for joining me, guys. Go out, cheer for these guys in the comments. Let them know you're watching. Let them know you're rooting for them. And we appreciate you getting through this with me. It's been a while since I've done one of these, so hopefully it wasn't too rough. And whoever this person is trying to sell some scamming T-shirts, you're going to be blocked in about like 30 seconds when I get off here. So, hope you're watching, because it ain't going to happen. All right. We'll talk to you guys later. Thank you for tuning in. HKB State Championship. It's going to be good, man. We're going to see these limits fill out, and we're going to see a really tight competition going into day 2. I'm pretty sure of it. We'll see what happens. Thanks, guys.